Good evening and welcome to the KZN Top Business Women, the third edition of our webinars that we're having and running them very, very successfully. Our host is currently running around Lagos trying to find a place where she can plug her. Listen to that. I've got a looping. Hold on a second. Our webinars that we're having and running them very, very successfully. Our host. Well, how was that? That was our YouTube link replaying to us, just in case we didn't know we were live. Okay, so basically what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go around the ladies and in 60 seconds, give a flashback or a flash, what your life, your success stories, where it started, where it's going to be, the future. In 60 seconds, just sum it up, and we'll just go around and everybody take their turns. And that way, we'll all get to know each other. All right, so who wants to go first? Was that a silly question? All right, so I think Janine was in here so early. Janine, you can take the floor.
Oh, thank you, Grant.
Nice of me, hey?
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Janine Topping from Westville, KZN. I'm a proud mom of two amazing adult sons, Robin and Andrew. I'm very grateful for my business advisor, life partner, BFF, Trevor Wishart, who is my biggest cheerleader in business. My purpose is to grow people. I live by the saying, you don't know what you don't know. I have two businesses. The first one is JTNA, been operating for 12 years now, and this business helps training providers grow their businesses and their training companies with the accreditation process. So we help them through the 21 different CETAs, as well as a QCTO. There's been lots of changes there. We've created many millionaires, and myself and my team are always very, very excited when we hear the success stories of our clients. After all, they are producing the future leaders of our country. We've almost reached our 1,000 mark with our clients, so I'm very, very proud of that fact. My training company, WIPT, has been empowering employed and unemployed people with management or training and development skills. The reason I do what I do with JTNA, I realize there's a lot of businesses that don't see the bigger picture and responsibility of training our future leaders of our country. And I made a choice to help people, or anyone really that comes up with wanting to open up a training company, running an existing training company, or even a corporate that wants to accredit the training division. And I help them with knowledge, and my team and I, we run various workshops in order to achieve this. For WIP, my training company, I saw many providers battling to roll out their first learnership or their first group of training, and I decided to run a few learnerships myself. And I mastered a coaching and mentoring program, which helps our clients with coaching and mentoring them through the process of actually rolling out their accredited training. So WIPT is very involved in helping corporate companies with their employee wellness program. We have a program called Flip the Switch, and this helps employees learn to switch on their own inner cheerleader. And that program is a lot of traction during the pandemic. The two accomplishments that I have at the moment, my biggest accomplishment, and I was asked this the other day, and everybody laughed, but it's true, it was to stay in business for the last 3 years. Things have been tough, but as a team, we've overcome many obstacles, many challenges. We've had to pivot hugely, change our business models, and I'm incredibly proud to still have my core team with us. From a personal perspective, I studied RTT, which equipped me with the necessary skills and knowledge to roll out the Flip the Switch program. And this has helped me find my inner cheerleader. And I've really had to dig deep and take it kicking and screaming sometimes during the pandemic and during all the challenges that we've had to face. But yes, I definitely work on that every day. What makes me unique? I can always see both sides of an issue. I am an incredibly forgiving person, and because I see both sides, I understand where the other person's coming from. So to me, that's my uniqueness. So Grant, back to you. Thank you so much for making me first.
Janine, you did a brilliant job. And I see we found our host in Lagos. Zanelli, how are you?
Surviving. My absolute apologies. Anyone who's ever done business in Lagos, been to Lagos, and knows anything about Lagos, knows that a 20-minute car ride can end up being 2-3 hours. And over and above that, connectivity is a nightmare. But I'm on, I'm live, I'm here, and thanks for covering for me.
Yeah, I didn't do a very good job, by the way. So I'm so glad you pitched up, eh?
Awesome. Thank you very much. I didn't hear
just to
most.
pull you in.
Okay,
we've got a guest speaker tonight, which is Zenshi, who's a superstar.
Yes.
So she's joining us as a guest speaker. So welcome. And we'll get to your story just now. I wasn't ignoring you, but I was waiting for our host to arrive to announce you. So I'm going to now disappear into the background, and it's your show, Zeli.
Thank you very much, Grant. Hi, ladies. Wonderful to get an opportunity to chat to you. We've been doing this now. This is our 3rd week. And every week, the stories have been so inspiring, the discourse even more so. And it gives me hope as a woman in business, and it gives me hope for our South Africa. So really excited to chat to everybody. And as Grant said, we do have a guest today, Zenhle. I know that we had started with, we do 60 seconds, tell us your story, but I do believe that we're going to start with Zenhle, and let's give her some time on the stage. Zenhle?
Greetings, everyone. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Well, I am very honored to be part of this amazing initiative. I am Zinhle Madela in the music business as a singer, performer, entertainer, and also by profession through finishing my studies at KZN, my honors in community development. I am a community development practitioner and obviously a businesswoman, a social entrepreneur, and the name of my company is Heartprints. It is a company that focuses on arts, crafts, entertainment, heritage, and culture. As I am a creative, obviously I'm specializing in that. And my biggest goal is to create opportunities, develop my community through arts. And we have a shop in Mandeni. It was an opportunity given by Ilembe Enterprise, where we're having our beads, iduku. So we have different products, arts and cultural products that we sell. And as a music entertainer, I perform for corporates, events, private events, maybe your weddings, Zanele, or your next wedding. Your another anniversary if you're not married yet, but I perform around. And yeah, basically in a nutshell, that is who I am.
Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I know COVID was incredibly difficult for people in the entertainment space. How did you overcome that, and how has it impacted you in terms of where you are now? Did you have to pivot in any way in terms of what you do?
Well, thank you for the question. Very interesting one, because when I started my honors in community development, I then had to choose the topic within my industry, and I did choose a topic in exploring the impact of COVID-19 in the livelihoods of creators. So obviously the regulations of COVID-19 were restricting, or rather we did not have an opportunity to work and to earn means of living. So all the regulations were against everything that is to do with performing, because we engage with people. So there was no events, there was no, even for arts women and craftswomen and craftsmen, they couldn't sell at that time, and we couldn't go around tour, we couldn't perform. So it really affected the livelihoods of musicians, and basically it just by regulations on its own. And most of us as professionals, some of us couldn't pay for our housing, car installments, supporting our families. So there were opportunities, however, that we could perform online, and we did learn to have a new audience where we are now engaging with thousands of audience just being online. We created our own live shows, and we received another audience and another way of creating income. So it was good and bad, and it just did open a better platform as well for creators. But I will say musicians have always been online by putting our music online. So it did affect us, but also we have also penetrated in a new audience by being able to be online and doing our shows and having different people in different places being able to engage in our shows.
Absolutely. So that sort of journey that we all probably had to go on around digitizing your business. Did you know a lot about digitization prior to lockdown, or was it a new process for you as well?
The only part of it was just to distribute music online, just to have your music, which is a once-off thing. You just do it once when you're just uploading your music so that it is accessible to your audience. However, such streams of being online, YouTubing was all new, and also it required consistency for one to be online so that people are constantly engaging with you. And by you being online, it allowed that we are able to reach a new market. And by you being visible online, then you are able to get more clients. So it was new. I would say it was new.
Fantastic. What does the future hold next 2 to 3 years?
I am so excited about the future.
Tell us.
Well, basically, we now are being introduced to different programs that are being done by embassies for ones to travel out of the country. So I'm just looking forward to traveling to different countries, especially in Africa. There are programs. There's one that I'll be joining in Ghana. I'm leaving on Monday. So it is a festival called Women from Here and Elsewhere Festival. So the festival is just giving an opportunity to women to go out of the country, to go around Africa, performing and sharing our different culture. And, so I'll be telling my own stories in my own language in a different country. So I'm just looking forward to traveling around Africa and the world at large. So that's the future. That's the future.
That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very, very much for sharing with us. I'm hoping that we're going to get to hear you singing at some point, I'm assuming at a later stage.
Most definitely. I'm just praying that, for the KZN Top Women, I'll be there for performing on the 17th. I'm just going to make sure my schedule fits so that I am able to honor the amazing women that will be there for the conference.
That's absolutely awesome. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Janine. My apologies, I missed you, so I won't be able to ask you as many questions as I would, as I would like to.
I'm very happy about that.
No, but I think skills development is such an important part of the journey that we're on. As a greater society, I mean, we're shifting, modes of economies, really, right? And especially as a country in South Africa, skills transfer has been a really big, has been high on the agenda. I wonder how you spoke a little bit about around wellness and developing courses around that. How has company needs in the training space changed? From what I understand, it used to be very core technical type sort of skills. So, whether a person's doing some project management or they're doing, business management, or they're doing, you know, something to do with finances or speaking or writing, you know, those types of things. Has there been a shift to an inclusion around more of the softer skills, more of the life coping skills, as we start to view ourselves in a more rounded fashion as human beings, even in the workplace?
So Nela, absolutely, your observation is 100% correct. We're finding that a lot of our companies that are getting accredited, there is the trade in the occupation. So you've got the two bands, but from a soft skill point of view, from an emotional intelligence, specifically through COVID, companies are realizing the importance of having employee wellness programs and assisting their staff members, their employees, and the staff members' families with mental awareness programs. It's been a huge, huge challenge. I sit on one of the forums with the seaters, and they have the most amazing employee awareness program where they offer counseling, they offer COVID support, not just to the employees, but to the actual family members of the employees as well. So companies have almost, I don't want to say been forced, but they've realized that if they don't have a look at the softer skills, that their staff members will actually just leave. And some of them leave because of the environment and management, upper management, not really taking into consideration the mental health of the staff members. So there's been a huge shift for companies to get involved in the wellness awareness programs with their staff, their employees, and even the extended families. So yes, you're 100% right.
Yeah, I mean, what do they say? Those staff are resigning en masse from a lot of what we're seeing. People are taking mental health breaks. You know, they're really just checking out. And those who haven't have just quietly quit. They call it quiet quitting, I believe, when you go to work but you sit on Facebook the whole day. And what I found as a coach is that a lot of the people I'm chatting to, some of their biggest challenges are that they don't have the tools, right, to navigate this terrain. We're all in change. Our organizations are in change and flux. We're in change and flux as human beings, and our go-tos are no longer there. And so a lot of organizations are you say you don't want to use the word forced. I would say to some level they are, they are. And hence my question around the skills development and training being more holistic, as opposed to just pure technical skills.
Absolutely. We've actually, as a company, we've just joined the pilot program 4dayworkweek.com. I'm incredibly excited about this initiative. 2023, I want to see a better work-home life balance for myself and my team. I seriously feel like for the last 3 years, we've just worked 24/7. And I decided a few months ago to actually join the initiative. And it is so well supported. There are coaches that coach the companies that are actually going through this program. So we start in January, February next year. We're still waiting for our first meeting. So I do see the fact that before COVID, would you ever have thought that there would be a 4-day work week and people would actually be pushing it? So exactly what you're saying, I do believe companies are going to have to look at how can I look after my team that I have? Yeah. And with the economy being as it is, salaries might not be able to go higher and higher for a few years. However, you can still look after them, and my team are ecstatic. They cannot wait for this to happen. So fantastic. That's what we do.
That's absolutely awesome. Thank you very much. Ketiwe, 60 seconds, please. Tell us about you.
Thank you, Sanele, and good evening to everybody. My name is Ketiwe Zulu, and I'm a proud mom of one. Missing teeth 6-year-old girl. My journey started, I stumbled upon it by pure chance, to be honest. When 6 years ago, I just wanted to know who the people that the street names had been named after. And upon realizing that there wasn't going to be a single book put together about who the people were, I decided to write it. And when I launched the book, there was a huge complaint about that there's too little women represented in the street names, but there were more female struggle stalwarts than represented in the street names. I followed up with a second book with 100 women, in profiling 100 women in the liberation struggle. I then turned both of these books into a question and answer board game. And my project is called South African History Retold. Why I do what I do is not to retell history. I want to retell values of old. We are sitting in a crisis of leadership, moral leadership in the country at the moment. And I felt that through knowing these people who fought for liberation that they were never going to experience, young children of old, of standing up and being part of your own changing of your own narrative and your own political discourse. Many young people are not involved in wanting to be involved in changing their own future. And one of the accomplishments that I feel I have done it within my business is when you write, you don't get paid to write. You only reap the rewards once the book is out. I wrote and developed all these products on my own financial backing, which now in retrospect, I could have done better, but I was just an author and I wanted to do something. So I did it. And I felt it was a huge accomplishment in terms of keeping pace with what I wanted to do until I saw it through. And another big accomplishment is I'm a very nervous public speaker, but I've had to sell my product and I've had to stand up and show the people that I believe in it as much as would like them to believe in what I'm doing. So it's been a major accomplishment to be able to be on platforms like this and speak and engage. What makes me unique is I really am able to turn very complex information into information that's easy to engage with in enjoyable ways. I don't only do the books and board game. I've turned the product into a year planner with the same information on a day in the life of South Africa. And I also have puzzles in my website so that if you don't like reading and you don't like playing games, you can play your puzzles just on your own. And I feel that that is something that I feel makes me very unique. Thank you.
That's absolutely fantastic. To anybody out there that's listening and has a wonderful story that they want to tell, what advice can you give them around writing a book and getting it published?
To the first part of your question, writing is consistency. I always believe that people think writing is a talent. Writing is waking up every day and going to work, even if it's just to sit in front of the computer and string words together. So you have to be consistent. You have to treat it like a job. The second thing is, if you're not reading, and I think there's Stephen King that said, if you're not reading, you have no business writing. Read, borrow ideas, form your own, but you have to read. It's your starting point to writing anything. And when it comes to publishing, I always say, don't look at the goal of publishing, look at the goal of writing the next sentence. And once you put together the book, then you'll feel that you are ready enough to share it with the world. When you start with the end goal of publishing, you're starting with the fame. You need to believe first that what you are writing is something that's worth reading.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And look forward to engaging with the material.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Pindiwe. Hi.
Hi, Zanele. Good evening, everyone. I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. 60 seconds. Tell us about you.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Pindiwe Fildane. I run an entity called Mbasane Women in IT. And our focus is on unemployed IT graduates. We upskill them so that they become employable, or they start their own jobs or their own businesses rather. And why are we doing this? We're doing it to make a difference because we believe that there are parents who have invested in these graduates. It's either TEFSA or rather NSFAS these days, government, or parents who have used their own pockets. And now they've invested, the graduates are there, they are not employed. Somebody has to do something. And we are one of those companies who have taken that to our hands to see what is it that we can do. So we upskill them in the technical skills, digital skills, and why we do what we do, we're doing it to make a difference, like I said. And one of other things that we do is we get involved in the enterprise development space, where we go into companies that want to develop their SMMEs, and we take part in that because some SMMEs don't know the basic skills or don't have the basic skills in terms of running the business. And we come with our IT knowledge and we bring in that and we bring in the basic skills. We help them digitizing their own companies. So that is another area that we do. And our accomplishments, especially in the graduates, unemployed graduates, we feel so accomplished, but when we see that whoever has come through our doors and they join the corporate world, they excel, they do their part, they make a change and they make a difference in their households. If you can think of an ordinary South African, that a person who gets a job maybe feeds at least 4 people. So one person is a huge difference, is a huge accomplishment for us. And then what we also feel that it's unique in what we do is that we don't just look at digital and technical skills. We look at honing the people that we come across. We hone their soft skills because we believe this is the area that we always overlook. You can be a guru in what you do in technical stuff, but if you don't have good interpersonal skills, soft skills, whichever way you want to call it, but those are the skills that we believe that people need to be assisted. People need to understand the dynamics between different cultures, how to present themselves. So that's the area that we believe that we bring the uniqueness in terms of the trainings that we do for all those who come across with. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. I think it's incredibly important work, especially with assisting individuals into that shift into digitization. Are you seeing a lot of young women studying in the STEM space?
Because our focus, I am very, very deliberate in terms of interacting specifically with IT graduates. And there is a lot. I mean, we've got a very huge database and it's predominantly women. We are not saying we will never help men, but we are very deliberate in just focusing on women.
And the ratio in the broader, I guess I was asking in the broader landscape. I know you, yes, so you're working with women, but in the broader landscape, are the numbers picking up? Are more and more women being interested in technical careers?
There are a lot of women that are getting interested, but the way they are discouraged, the way they feel discouraged and not progressing is an area that we need to make sure that we focus on so that they get the encouragement, they feel that they are part, they do what they can to prove themselves that they belong to the STEM group. So there are a lot of them who are interested, but the numbers are still not there yet. We still need to close the gap.
100%. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zanele. Thank you very much.
Melanie, 60 seconds.
Hi, Zanele. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's really an honor to be a part of this lovely group of very inspirational women. My name is Melanie Ranvis. I am a mother of 3 beautiful daughters and an entrepreneur by nature. But I can remember when I first joined KZN Top Business Women in 2019. I went to my first event and I sat there very comfortably, you know, getting to know the industry and the group of people and enjoying my dinner. And I was feeling rather safe. And then all of a sudden I got, without any warning, called up onto the stage and was asked questions about my business and who I am and my story. And It was extremely uncomfortable for me because I was very green as an entrepreneur back then. And I've learned a lot since. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity back then because it's given me a lot of courage, a lot of confidence, and I've learned so much for my business and for myself personally. It was quite a pivotal moment, that. And I thank the KZN Top Business for that, because they've really helped push me in the right direction. My company is called VR Wind. It is when you're feeling stressed or depressed, anxious, we are we are a modern mental health care solution where we use VR as a mental health tool. So you were chatting about how mental health has such a huge impact on the economy. For example, it's actually, the stats are in the billions. It costs our country billions every year because of how depressed everybody is and how stressed everyone is. And it is a very deep passion of ours to go and help everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is. Everybody is suffering from some sort of soft spectrum mental health disorder, being stress or depression, anxiety. And it affects our day-to-day living, it affects our work, our home life, and it has to be rectified. And that's why we're here. And we have a viable, very powerful solution where we adjust the hormone levels within your body. And we create homeostasis, which stress and the depression and actually pulls you out of. And that's why everyone's struggling to function, because their bodies are not balanced, and we are very passionate about bringing that back, because if we don't do it, who's going to, and we have a lovely solution for it. And we go into the corporate wellness space as well. We find that it helps a lot of different companies and their employees. And then we also find ourselves a lot in the medical industry. We are SAPA registered, and we're busy working on breaking into the hospitals as a palliative care service. And that's pretty much it. We're out to help the world to feel happy, and that's important to us.
So I'm such a big believer in what you've just spoken about. We're on the career side of things, and one of the things that I've been pushing, and especially since the pandemic, people are struggling with mental illness and coping with the shifts that have happened in their personal and their work lives. And what I found is that there's a tendency for us to shift, right, the moving parts in our external environment, right? So I'll quit my job, or I'll divorce my husband, or I'll stop speaking to that friend. The external pieces, right, that I perceive to be making my life difficult to manage, and one of the things that we push is that understanding that you can shift horizontally, right? You can move the pieces on the chessboard around, you can move the pieces around, but not every shift is growth, right? And so when you then start to look at what's happening on the inside, right? So dealing with your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, all of those pieces, not just your external environment, then you start to talk about growth and actually being able to transition, right, out of a circumstance you're in into another, because you can change jobs, you can, do all those, move around all those external pieces. And so, yes, it is change, right? But are you actually, transforming? Are you actually making a change in your actual, in your particular dynamic? And the answer is very often no. The issues that are there will persist if they require, because it's a holistic fix,
That's correct.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit around, you said you've done a little bit of work in the corporate space. Tell us what you think like a great application of your product is for anybody that's in a corporate job right now. They've done, they've left their job, they've gone somewhere else, they're still not happy. Somebody who's moved all the external pieces around, right? And is saying, okay, I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for an alternative to find balance. What kind of application do you believe your solution might have and might offer somebody like that?
Well, firstly, the changing your external situations is only a quick fix. It's not going to genuinely make you feel better, because the problem is not, there's so many different aspects that give us the stress and the anxiety and depression. For myself, for example, how the wind was born, it was through PTSD. We were attacked in our home. My husband was stabbed in the head and in the arm, and it was just like a horrendous traumatic night that took 2 years for us to actually get through. And this is where the wind was born, is because I had no way to actually heal. I just wanted to escape. And it didn't matter where I went. I went for a massage. It didn't help. I'd speak to my friends, not speak to my friends, or whatever the case. Have my kids be looked after for the weekend just to give me some space. None of that helped. What I needed to deal with was the core problem. And what happens when you get depressed or stressed or anxious, or even have PTSD, is that your body is thrown out of balance. Your hormones being released physically are completely out of balance, and you're releasing too much of a negative hormone that's not supposed to be predominant within your body. And we're using the power of the mind basically to bring that back to a good balance. So it doesn't actually matter in which way you're going to use it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you need to be, or where you want to go, whether you want to grow or not grow. If you just want to be content with your life, we all need to find that balance. And what our product does is it offers an express meditation. So I don't know if any of you have tried to meditate before. It's not always the easiest, because I don't know about you, but when I start meditating or try to meditate, I start having checklists appear in my mind of things I need to do. So I struggle to get to that place. And our VR solution is an express meditation. It takes you to the peak of a meditation. So you get to heal within 7 to 10 minutes, and then you come out again. And just like any form of exercise to get fit, the more often you do it, the better the results. And in a corporate setting, it helps people if they just have a 10-minute dose of forced express meditation, they become more productive. They become friendlier with their customers and with each other in the office. They have a better sense of self. They have more confidence. It just rectifying that balance. It fixes a lot of problems that we find that we all have.
Fantastic. I hope somebody that's listening out there has been able to be helped by what you just offered. Thank you very much. Nobile, 60 seconds.
Good afternoon, or actually good evening, everyone. I'm Snobile Kuluse. What's interesting about me is my name. In Zulu, my name, well, in English, my name means we have succeeded. So I'm also a mom of 3, like Melanie. I have 2 daughters and a naughty little boy who was fiddling around, and I ended up trying to fix, and my video went on. So something interesting happened in the process. Yes, so after school, I studied law and I practiced, and I fell in love with labor law. I've always had a passion for human dignity, human rights. So I went into practice, and a couple of years into it, I was offered a position in HR in a corporate company. And being the person that I am, I grabbed that opportunity with both hands, and I switched from law to HR. So that's another interesting thing about me. Took on the challenge and led a team of about 35 well-experienced HR people. I was not. So HR, I fell in love with it. It's stolen my heart. I remain in the HR environment. I'm currently working for a company called Sandok Austral Group, and our core business is shipbuilding and ship repair. It's actually the biggest shipbuilding company in Southern Africa, and it is owned by Mr. Prasheen Maharaj, who also has a passion for the things that I care about, and that's youth empowerment, youth development, opportunities, diversity, equity, and inclusion. My favorite color is black. I love being in HR because I'm a people person. I feed off of relationships. I love engaging with people, imparting wisdom and experiences that I've had. I'm born and bred in the township. I was privileged that my mom worked really hard to put us through some really good schools. And yes, I've been in HR for a couple of years now. If I were to describe myself, I would say I'm three things. Sorry, that's my son again. But here we are, situational management, we're okay. I'm three things. I'm a positivist, I'm a solutionist, and most definitely, I'm very good at conflict management. I thrive in discourse, and that's because I love being a fixer. I love resolving issues. I'm Bob the Builder, and I think that's why I've enjoyed my time in HR. Becoming restless, I'm looking at going into something also very corporate services, maybe marketing, who knows? I think that's the Gemini in me that's bringing up this switch again. So we'll go from law to HR to who knows what's next. I used to work for a manufacturing company that builds cars. I enjoy manufacturing. I'm always in the shipyard. I'm always in the heart of operations, wanting to see what's going on. So right now I'm building ships from building cars. Who knows, after this, we might be building a Boeing, or we might be building a rocket ship. So it looks like transport manufacturing is my thing. One of my most recent achievements being the trailblazer that I am, I was awarded a finalist in the Positive Role Model at the Accenture Gender Mainstreaming Awards. And I was a winner, yay, in the maritime sector. So I continue, thank you, to trailblaze, especially in male-dominated industries. I'm that kind of lady. I will show up where women are still underrepresented, and I will be that voice. I preach courage. My favorite quotation is, "Life is tough, my darling, but so are you." Thanks, that's me.
That's so awesome. Thank you very much. I think your positivity is infectious. I think a few questions. I think the first thing I wanted to ask, and you touched on it a bit, was how much of a shift in terms of gender transformation and women in that sort of automotive manufacturing type space. I mean, what are the quotas, and what is the culture generally like? I mean, is it easy? Is it an easy space for you to be in, or are you having to code switch quite a lot in that environment?
That is an action-packed question. Wow. Okay, let me try and break it down. So the first part of your question, you touched on quotas. I won't go too much into what the employment stats are reporting, but just in my previous employer, I was sitting on the board of directors, and on the board, I was the only woman, and I was the only person of color. And at the time, there were 12 board members. I think that gives you a perspective in terms of where automotive manufacturing is. I've seen a very big role being played by these industry associations, like, for example, NARCAM. So I think the collective voice of industry is becoming quite strong in terms of a demand to say, where's the diversity? And I think one thing that I've taken away from automotive manufacturing and the growing willingness to diversify the top management and to diversify scarce skills like engineering is that a lot of the shareholders, CEOs, people that matter, they have begun to embrace the diversity or call for diversity more because they've seen the success of diverse teams, and they've seen the success of having women on the board. They've seen the influence and they've seen the impact that people of color are able to make. And if you just look at manufacturing, which is, you know, very mass job scale environment, you'll have an organization of 4,000 people. 80% are Africans, but the representation at the top doesn't speak to the people that are making the product. So I think that's been another call in manufacturing. And I'm not going to say it's been sufficient progress, but it's a steady growth, and it's better than where we were, I'll say 5 years ago. But in terms of employment equity stats reporting, I think the sectoral targets are coming at a time when we desperately need them. So I'm really looking forward to 2023 and the official gazetting. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Did I leave anything else?
It does. And yeah, are you expected to code switch in that environment, or can you be a woman and be yourself? Or do you, have to step into your sort of masculine, is it, it's a boys club and kind of in terms of the culture of being in that particular industry?
And yeah, yes, that was the third part of your question. Zanele, I'll be very honest. I've learned as a woman, because we are creatures of emotion and we are compassionate, we are empathetic, and I've learned to master my emotional intelligence over some of the conversations that have fallen apart in the boardroom. And I've had to make sure that I don't fall apart in the process, and that those that I'm supporting around the table, we manage our emotions as best as possible, because we must be honest with ourselves, the triggers will always be there. We're completely different. And I think it's a journey for men as well to try and understand how do they best show up to support us. Code switching, yes, in those kind of situations, I have found myself code switching, and I think we must be honest. But as you grow and you gain the wisdom and you gain the self-awareness of who you are as an individual, it builds your authenticity, because it helps to build your courage. The wisdom and experiences are the best teacher. And you start to realize, and when you evaluate maybe an interaction that you had, altercation or a meeting, and you're processing it, and perhaps you are critiquing yourself or you're seeking peer evaluation, you start to notice that actually the question I was asked or the issue that I was raising, I didn't bring myself to the table. I pretended to be somebody else. And whether it was so that you become more accommodating to the guys and you feel like that's going to get you an in the boys club, and you start to realize that actually, why am I changing myself to suit this environment? I should be showing up as who I am. I am Snobile. I mean, something as simple as somebody will say to you, sorry, how do I pronounce your name? Do you have a shortened version? Do you have an English version? And I look at them and I'm like, no, that version is Snobile. That's what it is. So I think really it is that ownership of understanding who you are. But it comes with the experience, and it comes with the coaching. It comes with finding a mentor. It comes with having somebody to speak to so that you show up as your authentic self in these environments. And really, guys, down with code switching.
So this is my question to everybody, because it's a topic which absolutely fascinates me. Is there really room for us to be authentic in our work environments? And this includes the two wonderful women that I haven't spoken to yet. Is there really room for us to be ourselves? And what are the limitations of that? And obviously, caveat being, authenticity comes with responsibility. So we're not saying go and be the worst version of yourself, and because it's your truth, everybody must kind of like suck it up. I'm talking about there's unspoken behavior in the workplace that just passes. There are things that it's boys clubs, it's, whatever it may be. And it impacts you in the pocket, right? Because your manager or your boss, when they're doing performance evaluations, likability and all of that other good stuff is affected by how well you get on with other team members, or, it's those little comments. If you really just try to get along with everybody more, or, those subtle type of things, and by get along, they mean, the guys all go for beers after work 3 times a week, but you really can't do that because you've got kids, as an example, because there is a cost to being authentic at work, right? Is there really place for it? And this is a question I'm asking. And if so, how do we make the shift? And this is a question I'm asking to everybody, whoever wants to answer.
Zanele, I'm going to jump in there on that one, because I totally agree with what you're saying. And for me, I've spent a really long time trying to unconditioned female candidates who apply to work in my business. And I think that a lot of them show up thinking what they have to say. And I think until we realize, and we as women start supporting other women, for us as employers to not toe that line, to not create subjective incentive programs and performance management reviews. You need to have a process that is clear and fair and measurable and attainable. And I think that we need to start talking to each other and to other women to support them in that process. So many times a candidate will come for an interview and I'll stop them halfway through and say, you've just told me what I think you thought I wanted to hear. Now I want to know what is your real answer. And I think when we create safe spaces for women to do that, when we celebrate them doing that, a lot of that will fall away.
Absolutely. And it is an underlying sort of program that's running in all of our like operating systems, you know, that you are expected to code switch. I mean, we all do it. I'll tell you, I speak English in 10 different accents, depending on who I'm speaking to. I'm getting better. I mean, I'm obviously better at it now, right? So this is how I speak every day. But if I'm speaking, it depends, really, maybe not 10, but it depends. And that code switching, it's like, it's so automatic in our DNA. And because it's actually, you know, sometimes you just like, it's just not worth the hassle of disrupting sort of status quo. And that's not to say it's what I believe, but I mean, I know where I come from and I know where I am now. So I'm at the other end of the pendulum now, where my authentic self is really what I step into every day. But it's incredibly difficult in a corporate environment because we are expected to code switch. You are expected to fit in. You are expected to do what everybody else is doing. But it's great to hear from you that there are women such as yourself that are creating safe spaces for people to be themselves, because I think that's the most important thing. People want to know that they can come into the space and be vulnerable, right, to be themselves. And I think in the age that we're living in right now, we need authenticity. We need different people to help us solve some of the problems that are facing us, that are problems we've probably never faced before. And so if everybody in your organization thinks the same way and does everything the same way, you're going to keep solving the way you've always solved. So that's wonderful to hear. Thank you very much, Heather. And while I've got you, 60 seconds, please tell us about you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Zanele, and a warm greeting to all these amazing women who are panelists here tonight and our amazing guest speaker. And thank you to everybody who's joined the webinar. I think platforms like this are amazing opportunities to highlight the wonderful work that women are doing in KZN and for us to get to show off a little bit on our achievements. So a little bit on myself. My name is Heather Flack. I'm the very proud leader and founder of Flair Accounting. I am married to an amazing man who is my #1 fan in this world, and I'm dearly grateful to him. I am very blessed to parent 4 children, even though I only had to birth one of them. I grew up in a very small little town called Vereeniging in the Vaal with my father and 2 sisters. My mum passed away when we were really young. And I was a little bit of an oddity in that in school, I majored in art and accountancy. And so in '97, when I matriculated and coming from a single parent family where there was no money for tertiary education, when I was offered a full bursary to study art, and I turned it down to go and pay for an accounting degree, needless to say, everybody thought I was totally nuts. But I'm very grateful that I had the foresight to know myself pretty well back then, that if I had gone into art, the first person who told me that they didn't like the piece I created, I might have actually whacked them. So I decided I needed to be in a profession that had rules and structure and boundaries. And so I started my articles and joined an accounting practice straight after school, studied at night and waitressed on the weekends. And I learned a lot working in practice. But I have to tell you that all in all, I rebelled against the traditional accounting practice mold. The hierarchies, the power, status, the impersonal customer care, billing. It really just kind of didn't sit well with me. And so in 2000, I packed up my car and my cat and I headed for Durban, and I joined a private sector company where I gained invaluable insight into the inner workings of a business, which I think for a lot of accountants who have been quite theoretical and only gone to practice, to not actually work in the other side of the coin, I think you miss something there. And so on my 23rd birthday, on the 1st of March 2003, HW Accounting Services was born. And that is how I traded for almost 20 years. But I realized quite a few years ago already that somehow, in some way, something had grown and developed here that was far greater than the individual that was me. And so I realized a few years ago that we really needed to morph and change and grow into something more. So I had these grand plans that on 1 March 2023, which is our official 20-year birthday, we were going to have a big party and invite everybody and relaunch and rebrand. And then the universe had other plans. In July, Standard Bank emailed me to congratulate us for being recognized by Standard Bank Top Women as a top gender empowerment company in the finance sector for 2022-23. So needless to say, I was totally floored. My jaw was on the table, but I was also now a little bit betwixt because I have this plan and this dream of rebranding next year. And with the Standard Bank recognition, they profile your business for a 12-month period. And I'm sure you'll all agree that is a magical marketing moment you just cannot pass up. And so Standard Bank actually said to us, you know what are you waiting for? Just change now. And so we sped everything up, we changed gears. And in September this year, we introduced Flair Accounting to the world. And I would have to say that what makes us unique is that we have a core philosophy that life is about people in all aspects, in our staff, in our clients, in our suppliers, in our greater stakeholders. If you take everything away, cars, houses, money, titles, all that is left is people. And so our approach is we don't hire people who are good with numbers. We hire people who are good with people and good with numbers. And really, I'm so passionate about South Africa. I'm so passionate about our tax system. I know people hear the word SARS and everybody rolls their eyes, but do you realize we have one of the most progressive tax systems in the world? There are so many amazing tax benefits that business owners can take advantage of, and they are not things to be scared about. But the accounting world has sometimes made that information inaccessible to business owners. And so my dream back then, 20 years ago, and still to today, is to empower business owners with useful, powerful financial information. You know, during COVID, we didn't have one client closed down. And that is something that I am exceptionally proud of, because our proactive approach to financial compliance, structure, and reporting meant that everybody had access to the wonderful things that were available to them during that time, and everybody got through it. So I think that's basically me in a nutshell.
That's absolutely awesome. So what are the top 3 things that SMEs or somebody that's listening right now who is in a smaller business or mid-cap type business, maybe can't afford a very big accounting firm, but somebody out there who's listening that's an entrepreneur, you talk about benefits that they can take advantage of with SARS. What are the top 3?
So the first thing is just to tell everybody, it's a bit like lotto. If your line isn't in the water, you're never going to win. And it's relatively easy to start a business in South Africa, but we have a lot of onerous compliance that hovers around. And the best advice I can give you is don't do nothing. Don't wait. Engage with a professional, even if it is a friend or a mentor, and get some assistance. I have a great saying that you can put a tractor on a Formula One track and it will make it around the track, but it's never going to win the race. So the first thing is, normally a lot of people when they start a business run out and register a PTY. But it might not actually serve you to do that. There are a lot of amazing tax benefits, especially when you are starting out. You're probably not going to make a gazillion rand in year one. And so it might actually serve you to be a sole proprietor rather than a PTY. So the first thing is find out what is the right vehicle for you to actually trade in to serve you. The second thing is small business corporations tax. This is a phenomenal tax benefit that government put in place for SMEs, where you pay a significant, like a hugely reduced tax rate by being an owner of one business, not employing only family members, and you need to have a turnover of less than 10 million. So, and in this situation, I cannot tell you the reduction in tax that it will give you. Another huge incentive that government gave us was the employment tax incentive. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, because it is our small to medium business owners that are going to change this country. It is those businesses that are going to employ people, that are going to develop them, that are going to improve our economy. And I'm very passionate about employing people. And I really feel for our youth who are trying to get a job, but no one will give them experience because they don't have a job. So I constantly appeal to people to remember, firstly, that a leader is somebody that people willingly follow. And in that space, we have a responsibility to grow our staff, because it is our team that grows our businesses, ladies. And that is just what it is. If you grow your people, if you invest in your people, if you love on them, if you give them amazing incentive packages, and then you bring fun back into the workplace, our staff are incentivized on personal development. This is where the world needs to go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I love a lot of what it is that you're saying, and I absolutely agree with you. You know, there aren't enough jobs. Our economy is struggling, and I believe that entrepreneurship is potentially one of the ways that we start to shift and change our country. And it's great to hear, you know, that there's so much in terms of resources that are available. And our government has taken that into consideration. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Dr. Lungile, last but absolutely not least, 60 seconds, please.
Good evening, everyone. Finally, I'm like, what do I say in 60 seconds after such beautiful stories from these amazing women? Thank you so much, ladies. My name is Dr. Lungile Umhlanga. Most people know me as Dr. Lu. I am a mother to a 7-year-old. I'm a founder and CEO of a company called Numa Medical Aesthetics. Numa is a word that stands for beautiful and pleasant. So that's what we're trying to achieve with the services that we offer, which are non-surgical cosmetic procedures that help people to actually look good and feel confident about themselves and be able to present themselves better to the community. How Numa was founded, it was based on a personal experience where I had like severe acne. It was on my face, chest, and back. And it led me to like serious mental issues because I felt like people are just, anyone I see that has seen my skin clear, and when I see them with acne, they would ask me questions, what happened? And I don't have the answers. It's a bacterial infection. My skin is producing excess oil. And with everything that I went through, I understood the connection between the psychological effects of skin problems and how you look in general, how it may affect how you present yourself at work, in your family and socially as well. So that's how this business was born. When I found help, I wanted it to offer it to other people that might be going through the same thing. And amongst our families, I meet a lot of clients that their families are like, no, you're overreacting, this thing is going to pass, you're overreacting. But inside, it is affecting your mental health, even how you're going to perform academically or at work. It is limited because of how you are feeling. So that's how Numa was born. And recently this year, we launched our own skincare range, which was inspired by the clients as well, where we've been seeing clients for over 4 years, and we kind of figured out what the majority of our clients present with, which is mostly pigmentation. That's why we launched our pigmentation range first. So where I formulate the products that will work for my clients, which has also enabled us to actually scale the business. We now have, in the past weekend, we've launched our branch in Johannesburg, which was also inspired by our clients as well, that we've been getting a lot of people from Joburg, from different provinces, even from different countries around Africa. We've had clients from Tanzania, we've had clients from Botswana coming to get the service, which shows how much of a gap there is out there for people who just want to look good and feel good and do better as well. So after launching the skincare range, we've tried to scale. And what actually makes us unique as a company is that the founder of the actual company understands the clients and their needs as well. So that has helped us a lot. And also, apart from the skin and the service parts, this company has enabled us to be able to employ young people. Also, that comes from a personal experience as well. When I finished medical school, I did not have an internship placement. So I was unemployed for 2 months. And already I had told myself, I'm a doctor now, I'm gonna make my own money. And through that 2 months of being unemployed, it really, really frustrated me. So when it comes to Numa and Numa Skin, which is the product side, we've been able to hire quite a number of people and to bridge the gap of unemployment. And what I've been able to do as well, what Janine touched on, is skills transfer. So I'm able to, I'm in a position now where I'm able to transfer my skill and create another Dr. Lou who can offer the service so that we're able to help more people, because I'm limited. I can't give the service myself in all these branches. So now I'm able to train a doctor who's unemployed to try and help with the unemployment rates, because we've got a significant number of doctors that just finished their community service now and they're unemployed. And I could relate to their pain, and we looked at how we can actually create and make a difference in the crisis that we are facing. And I started training doctors to be able to do what I do, and then a transferred skill. And then now we are able to actually scale the business with having doctors that we have trained. So that's basically what we do.
Fantastic. A quick question. Economy is struggling. There's inflation. But the aesthetics industry is just booming.
Yes, it is.
Tell us, what do you think is going on?
People are becoming more self-aware, I would say, and also with like information is readily available. It's not like before where we only see American people and American lifestyle on TV, in a show, in a movie. Now we're able to see their real lives. We see them going for procedures. We see that the beauty that we've been seeing on them is actually because they've been going for procedures. They're changing what they don't like. And if you can find a safe way to change what makes you uncomfortable, I always say go for it, so that you can be a better version of yourself. So I think that's why it's growing so much now, because with social media, I feel like I live with someone who's in the US, in New York. I'm able to see it in real time as well. So I think that's why it is growing now, and people have information that is readily available. That's why I'm still studying, because the most embarrassing thing is for a client to come having the same level of knowledge that you have, and now you can't offer anything more. more. That's why I'm going in and advancing in aesthetics, so I can be able to clarify. There's a lot of myths as well, so I can be able to clarify those things and clear them as well. As part of the foundation that I have, where I help high school kids that don't have the funds to actually have clear their skin and do and get acne treatments, and then it also affects their mental health as well. So what we also do there, we do teachings on skin health, healthy products to use, because there's a lot of these lightning products that are promising instant results, magical results, and all of these things. We teach on those, yes. We teach them on ingredients that are safe to use in your products. So we try to teach them whilst they're still young, and they can take this information back home. And when they see these ingredients, they can actually correct the parents. I remember when I was a child, if we were doing bio and I'd learned something that is wrong, I would go home and tell my parents, we shouldn't be keeping this type of plants inside the house because I've just learned that. So we're trying to infiltrate these homes and actually spread the knowledge of safe skin health.
Fantastic. So very quickly, what do I need to get done? I'm kidding.
Nothing at all.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. It's been absolutely fantastic to chat to everybody. It always just astounds me. I mean, the last 3 weeks have been absolutely phenomenal. The level of engagement, the amount of interest that we all have in KZN, in other women in our country, really gives me hope that we can have a version of the South Africa that speaks to each and every single one of our dreams. And I'd like to take this moment to kind of get one sentence in closing from everybody around to anybody that's listening at the moment. What is it that you would like to say to them? Janine, take it from the top. In closing, one sentence.
Stay in your lane, do what you know, do what you do best.
Fantastic. Thank you. Melanie.
In closing, I'd just like to remind everyone of their morals and ethics. I feel that it's a really good, solid foundation to moving any business forward in your personal life and your work life.
Thank you so much. So awesome. Snobile.
I'll just repeat my favorite quotation, and that's life is tough, my darling, but so are you. Thanks, Anele.
We love that.
Thank you.
Heather.
Mine is going to be simple. Keep it real and never believe that a few caring people can't change the world.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Zinhle. Hi, is Zinhle still with us? Okay, I'll move on to Ketiwe.
I'm going to be a thief on this one. I'm going to steal from my favorite actor, Robin Williams. And what he once said is, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's so awesome. I loved Robin Williams as well. Pindiwe, in closing.
My word is that let's do what we can to make a difference to the world. Thank you.
Fantastic. In closing, Dr. Lungile.
I will share something that a very close person said to me. They said, if you're launching a perfect product, then you launch too late. Start that business.
No truer words can be spoken. You can spend your whole life putting together a business plan with the most phenomenal idea, and by the time you're ready to launch, you know, the market's shifted and changed, or you know, somebody's come out with something better, or, you know, whatever it may be. And yeah, I think that's quite a female thing though, always searching for perfection. Or it may not even be what people are looking for. And putting out a broken product, and I know this, you get a real idea of what it is people are looking for, and then you can start to perfect once people, you get feedback from your consumer around what it is that you're looking to do. Fantastic. Thank you very much, ladies. I hope I'm seeing everybody. Zintle, sorry, I don't know if you're with us. I think we've lost her. I hope I'm seeing everybody next week, Thursday, at the final event. It's been absolutely phenomenal to chat to everybody, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Zanele. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.
Bye, everyone.